Hello and welcome. I am Raghav, and today we are going to learn about Pytest. This is going to be very easy and very interesting, and if you are a complete beginner, you can just follow along with me with hands-on. So we are going to see what is Pytest. We are going to see how to install and set up Pytest in our project, and I will tell you all the steps. We will go step by step. We will also see how we can create and run the Pytests. We will see how we can run from the IDE and also the command line options, and we will see all the reporting options in Pytest. Okay, so let's get started, and let us start with what is Pytest. So Pytest is an open source testing framework for Python. That means in any of your Python projects, you can use Pytest to create, organize, maintain, and run your test, and also have the reporting options for your test. So it is for Python in general. It is not specific to Selenium, so you can use Pytest in any Python project, and it is very easy to use. It is powerful and flexible. We will see some of its features as we use it, and there are assertions that we can directly use in Pytests. We can run our test from command line. We have reporting options, and it is very popular, very widely used. So there is a huge and active community, and you can get all the support online for Pytest. So let's see what are the steps to add Pytest in our project and then use it. Now, in general, you can install Pytest using pip install pytest command, and then you can use pytest space hyphen hyphen version command to check the version and check if it is installed, and then use pytest hyphen hyphen help or hyphen h command to see all the options that you can use with pytest command. And in case you have already created a Python project, we also have the option to go to our IDE and then go to the packages of the project, and then from there add Pytest. So you can use any option. You can directly go to your command line and run the commands, and this will install Pytest on your system, and then you can use it from step number 2 onwards. You can use it directly in your project, or if you have a project, you can add it within your project packages as well. So I'm going to my IDE, and we have been using PyCharm in this series, and this can be done in any IDE. Whatever IDE you are using, you can check what is the way to add packages for your project in your specific IDE. Okay, so I'm going to my project, and then here you can go to settings, you can go to project settings. uh, Here I'm going to this. In PyCharm we have this option where we can see our project and the Python interpreter. If I click here, I have this option. So if I go to interpreter settings, so we also have this option manage packages. If I go here, you will see all the packages here. I am double clicking here so that I will have to expand this window so that you can see the packages. So these are all the installed packages along with their versions. And if you want to add package from version control or from your system, you can use these options. However, in our case, I will go to the interpreter. So I will go to interpreter settings, and here you can see our Python interpreter and all the packages of this particular project. And to add a package, we have to click on this plus button, and here I will start typing Pytest. So you can see Pytest has come here. So make sure you are using the right package. This is the package Pytest, and the latest version is 7.4.0. Just to check, you can also directly go to the Pytest official website, which is this one, pytest.org, and here you can see all the information and some examples as well. So you can see this is the Pytest official website. So I'm just going to get the latest version. So I will select this and say install package. So it is now installing, and once we have this package, yes, we have got it installed. So I'll just close this and I'll just check here. So if I start typing pyt, yes, you can see it has come here, Pytest, and this is the latest version which is now installed in our project. I will click OK, and we have got Pytest ready. So I can also go and check manage packages now. I should see Pytest here. I will start typing Pyt. I should see, or uh, it is in alphabetical order. I'll just go to P, and yes, Pytest is here. Okay, so this is fine. We have got our Pytest installed. That is step number 1. And also, after installing, if you want to check the version, etc., you can go to the terminal of the project. So here you can see I have got this terminal. I can also get this using the keyboard shortcut Alt plus F12. This is for PyCharm. You can find for your IDE in case you are using a different IDE. So here we have got the terminal, and this directly goes to the folder of our project, and I can now run any command here. So if I say pytest space hyphen hyphen version, I'm getting the pytest version. That means it is installed, and I'll clear this. If I say pytest hyphen hyphen help, this should show me all the options I can use with pytest command. So you can see all these options I can use. Okay, so as of now I will clear this. Okay, also if you just double click here on this bar, it will get expanded in a full window, and again I will double click here, it will get restored. Okay, alright. Now step number 2 is we will create a folder called tests, and under this folder we will create a file called test underscore demo1.py. Now you can name it anything. Also, if you do not want to create a folder and directly create a file, you can do that as well. However, for PyTest we have to take care of some naming conventions. So here the naming conventions are: the file name should start or end with test. So if you are creating a file and you want to add PyTests in that file, you have to name the file something like test underscore something or something underscore test. So they should be test in the start or at the end. And then if you want to organize your tests into a class, then the class name should start with test with T in uppercase. For example, you can give your class the name like TestExample. And if you are adding any functions, then you can all again use test underscore and then anything for the naming convention. Okay, so for now I'm going to create under my project folder, I'm going to create a new folder or a new directory first. So I'll say new directory, and I'm going to call this as tests, and under the tests directory I'm going to create a new file. This is going to be a Python file. You can say Python file or just say file. If you say Python file, you will not have to explicitly mention the .py extension. So here I am saying test underscore demo 1.py. Okay, so I have created this file here. Alright, now here step number 3 is we will add some tests and then we will run the test. So as we know, here we have to start the functions with this test underscore naming convention. Let us see some test. So here is a test. Here we have created a function. You can see this function. Now all this is Python. Just in case you are completely new to Python, I am parallelly creating another course, another series for complete Python beginners. I will put the link in the description of this video, so that will help you if you are a complete beginner, absolute beginner in Python. So here let me show you. What we are doing here is we are creating a function, and to create a function in Python we use the keyword def and then give some function name like add or anything, or I am just saying function func, and then we will give two brackets and then a colon and then go to the next line. And as you see, as we go to the next line, we automatically get this space. So everything that we will have here will be a part of the function. So here I'm going to get some argument, let's say x, in this function. So whenever this function will be called, the user will be sending some value here, and then I'm just going to return that value by incrementing it with 1. Okay, so whoever calls this function with a value, we are assuming it should be a numeric value. For example, if somebody calls this function by putting 2 here, we will be returning 2 plus 1, that is 3. Okay, so this is what the function is. Now here, now semicolon is again optional in Python. Now here I am going to create some test. Let us say I will create a function for test 1, and here in this test I am going to call the function with a value 2, and then I am going to check if the return value is equals to 3, and for that I will have to use assert keyword from Pytest. So I'm saying assert function 2 equals 3. Okay, so now if you see here, we have got this run button, and if I go and click on this run button, here I am getting this run Python tests and debug Python tests here. So here, okay, so here let us try to run this. I will click here, and as of now I am getting this option. So I will here, if I go to modify run configuration, you can see here we have got all these configurations here. Okay, let me just run it first. I will click here and say run the tests. Now it is executed, and you can see the details here, the execution details here, and I'm just double clicking here to expand this window, and here we can see launching Pytest with arguments. So it is now, it has checked that Pytest was there, so it is now running this with Pytest, and here we have got all the details. And if you see here this section, we can see our tests here. So we have our tests here, we can see the details of the test and all the summary here, and we have options here. So you can see here sorting options are here. We have all these options if you want to see the passed or the failed, and then we also have option to export test results, expand, collapse, test runner options. All these options are here. Okay, so let us now add some more tests. I'm just going to copy this. So we have some mix of failed and passed tests. I'm going to create another test. I will call it as test2, and here I will say I want to check when I pass the value 3, is it equals to 5, which should fail. And then one more test I'm going to add. Here I'm saying this is test 3, and here I'm checking when I pass the value 4, I should get 5. This should pass. So now we have got these 3 tests. Now I can run them one by one. You can see these run buttons against every test. So we can do this, or I can go here, and you can see here it is saying Python tests for this particular file. I will click here, it will run all the tests in this file. And if I now expand this, here we can see it has passed. I think it again ran the single test. So for that, for running everything, I will do a right click here, and then I will say run Python tests in this file. And yes, now we have got all the 3 tests executed. This was pass, this was failed, and for the failed test, now you can see we have got all the details. So why did it fail? Because 4 is not equals to 5. Expected was 5, but actual was 4. You can click to see the differences as well, and then you can again run from here. You can see the exact command where it failed. So everything we have got here. Okay, so we have done this. I will also keep all these notes, all these functions and tests in the description of this video. So just in case you want, you can copy it from there as well. So we have done step number 3. Now we will group these multiple tests and run in a class. So we will create a class, and then we will group these tests in a class, and then we can run the class. Alright, so here I will say class, and I will call this as, let's say, test cases and colon. Now to make all these functions, all these tests as part of the class, we will have to go here and give some space, or I will just press the tab key on my keyboard, so that now this will be a part of this class. Okay, so if I now expand and collapse this class, you can see all the other functions are also collapsed. That means all those test functions are now part of this class, and this is how we have created the class. Okay, so you can see we have created class like this. Okay, now let us see. I will save this, and now I also have this run button in front of the class. So if I click this run button, it will run all the tests or all the functions in this class. So now we have got all this. Now also you can see now everything is failing, and that is because these functions are now part of the class, and the class functions should have a parameter here for function, and if you do not have any specific parameter, we use self here. This is by default in Python. So I will say this and now save and run the class again, and now you can see we have got the same result. 2 tests have passed and 1 has failed. Okay, also here if I export these test results, we have got the option to export it in a HTML format or a HTML report, and you can give it any name. Let's say test results 1.html, and let me store it on my desktop itself for now, and it is exported. If I go to my desktop, it is here. I will open it, and here we have got the test results in HTML format. I will show you a different library that we can use for generating HTML reports, but this is what we get inbuilt with Pytest. So we can see all the details here. The test that has failed will also give you all the logs and the reasons for failure, and you can see the time taken and all the details here. Okay, all right, so now let us see how we can also run from command line and what are the options we have to run our Pytests from command line. So here I will go to the terminal. Now I'm going to the terminal within my project. If you want, you can also use the terminal outside or the command prompt. So you will just go to your command line or terminal, and then you will have to go to the location of your project folder. So let's say in my case, the project folder, this is my project folder. I will first change the drive to D drive because my project folder is on D drive. Then I will say CD and the location of my project, and I can run it from here, the commands that we are going to see now. Or if you have the option in your IDE like PyCharm or any other IDE that you can use that inbuilt terminal, you can go from there as well. Okay, so I will say here, I will say Pytest and the location of the file that we want to run. So I will say Pytest and then tests, which is the folder name, and in this we have the file test-demo1.py. Now see, I did not type the entire command. What I did was I said Pytest, then I said test and then hit tab. Now because there's some other file name with the same name, I will say tests and press tab, and it has taken this path of this folder, and then I again type test and again pressed tab on my keyboard, and it has auto completed the rest of the file name, and I will press enter, and you can see here we have got all the details So here it is running 3 tests, and you can see this one has failed, and you can see 1 failed and 2 passed. Okay, so we can use this command, and we can run all the Pytests in a particular directory by saying Pytest and the location of the folder. So if I say let me go back to the terminal. If I say Pytest and the folder location and hit enter, again you can see it has ran all our tests. Now we can also use keyword by saying -key and the name of the keyword. For example, if you want to run all the tests that contain the word login, you can say pytest and then -k login. So for example, I am pressing the up arrow on my keyboard to go to the last command. Now here I can say -k and test. So that means all the tests in this particular location that have the word test will get executed. Now in this case all the tests had this word test, so therefore everything is executed here. Let me say here test 1. You can also put this within quotes like this, and I will hit enter, and you can see here nothing is selected. I think the name is something else. Let me check. The name is test_1, right? So I will go back here and again say test_1 and hit enter, and now you can see it has ran only one test and selected only one test, which is passed. Okay, so you can also use these keywords, and if you want to run using the Python interpreter, then we use the command python -m and then the rest of the pytest command. So I can say, now you can also run it from here. I can say pytest and then say I can use the same command here. Now see here the problem is because we added Pytest within our project and not outside, therefore we are not able to use it from here. But otherwise if you add it globally using pip install Pytest, you will be able to use it from outside as well. But for now let me exit from here. Let me continue here. I'll clear and say python -m pytest, and then I can give the rest of the command, and you can see it is again running everything. Okay, so we can do this as well. So if you want, you can take a screenshot of the screen, keep it handy with you, and we have done step number 5. Now let us also see the reporting option. We have already seen the inbuilt HTML report, but if you want, you can also add the Pytest HTML package, and then we can use the option -HTML and give the location of the report where we want to save the report. So here, let me just go to the packages first. I'm going to the interpreter settings. I will say click on this plus button to add package, and I will search for pytest-html. You can see a lot of options are there, and if you say pytest and if you say hyphen here, you can see there are a lot of options with Pytest. We have Allure Pytest and so many options are here, but for now I will just use this Pytest HTML and show you, and I will get the latest version. Click on install package. It is getting installed, and now this is done. So I will close this, and if I check here, we have got Pytest HTML here. Now with this library I can say, so here I will say the same command that we have used earlier, but we will just add this option to generate the report -HTML. So I will say I'm pressing the up arrow to go to the last command. Okay, so here I will say hyphen HTML, and I will give some location, and if I just want to put it on the main project folder, I'll just start typing the name. I'll say report1.html, or you can give some particular folder location as well along with the report name. So this time this should also generate the report, and let us see if I see my project. Here you can see this report1.html is generated, and I will do a right click. I can open it in the Explorer first, so you can see this has come here, and then I can open it in a browser. So here you can see this is a different report. We get the timestamps here, we get the summary here along with the time taken. We have got these filters, so I can check or uncheck these filters if I just want to see the failed, passed or skipped. All these are here, and then we can see the logs and details as well here. Okay, so this is how we can also generate reports using Pytest. I hope this was very useful for you. Try some hands-on and let me know if you face any issues. I will see you in the next session. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.